many things affect your life as much as slow traffic and bad weather? Listen tomorrow morning for Traffic and Weather Together every 10 minutes on the 9s on KSL News Radio.
Cougar Nation is live here on KSL News Radio. Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte with you, and it's sponsored by Central Bank. Earlier today, Richie Saunders announced as a first-team All-Big 12 performer. He also received the Most Improved Player in the Big 12 Conference. Yegor Demmin, who will be joining us in the next segment, so stay tuned for that. He was named to the All-Freshman team, and honorable mention. This was Kevin Young on Richie and Yegor earning their Big 12 awards.
Yeah, just want to congratulate Richie Saunders on being named first team All Big 12 as well as Most Improved Player. Yegor as honorable mention All League and first team freshman in the Big 12. Thought we had some other guys that were deserving, but happy for those guys. I mean, those are definitely team awards as well. Obviously, there's a lot goes into having individual success, and our guys are well aware of that. So happy for those two young men, to represent, our university in that those awards.
Do you feel like there was any snubs, Matt, on the Big 12 awards that were announced earlier today?
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe I don't know. Like Keita's been playing great, Keita of late, but is he honorable mention? I don't know if he's quite to that level. So I think Richie, first team, needed to be there. Most improved, a no-brainer. Yegor being there as well makes sense, and I think that's about right for this BYU team.
Let's dive into what's trending up and trending down for the Cougs on the hardwood.
Cougar Nation, trending. What's trending up and what's trending down this season?
Let's start with trending up, Mitch. For me, what is trending up is the Cougars' Sweet 16 possibilities. Drink that blue Kool-Aid, baby. Give it to me in gallons. I am drinking it all. This team, I came away so impressed with that win against Utah for some statistical reasons, which we already talked about. They've got the depth, they've got the versatility, they've got the shooting. What does this team not have? They went up against Utah. I think teams would point to BYU and say, well, you're a little undersized. They got out-rebounded by 19 against one of the tallest teams in the country, and they won by double digits. And most nights, they win the rebounding battle. They're 20-2 this year when they win the rebounding battle. So this team, more times than not, they win the rebounding battle, and when they don't, they've found a way to win a couple games. I'm buying in, Mitch. I feel like it was nice to see them get a 5 seed, a projection from ESPN on the seed line. I love the way this team is trending. I am drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm feeling like this team is going to the Sweet 16.
I love that Lenardi from ESPN did put BYU as a 5. We'll see if that's what it ends up being for BYU. A lot of other brackets have got the Cougars at 6 or 7 still.
7's ridiculous. They're the 17th team in the country.
But it's not based on...
It's the full body. Don't give me that crap. They're playing the Big 12. It's one of the hardest leagues.
I get that, but that non-conference schedule, if they had a little bit more substance in the non-conference, I don't even think we're debating what seed they'd be. They would be a lock to be a 5, in my opinion. I think that non-conference schedule and a lack of a good win in the non-conference hurts BYU a little bit because also I think what also hurts BYU a little bit is that they built up their resume in the Big 12 that's not the best league this year. It had a little bit more sizzle last year when it was the number 1 league in America by the metrics. This year it's the number 3 league. I still think it's a great league, but just trying to, I'm always a little cautious whenever it comes to seeds, but I think BYU definitely
5,
deserves
6, 7, I don't care. Punch me into the Sweet 16, baby.
I think BYU can match up against anyone regardless of what, pod they land in the NCAA tournament. I think what's trending up for me is BYU in rematches. They were 4-1 this season in the Big 12. Great job by the coaching staff because that's when it becomes a case of the personnel, each other. You guys know each other well, and I think I bring that up too because you're going to probably have some rematches, quite a few, in the tournament if you make a run in Kansas City, particularly on Thursday if it goes chalk and you play Iowa State, who you just barely played last week. BYU tends to be pretty good in these rematch spots, and I think that highlights the coaching staff and Kevin Young and his team when it comes to those second matchups against a rematch foe.
Trending down for me, and my younger self would hate me for saying this, but I don't give a rip about the Big 12 tournament this week. I do not care. I think there is nothing to gain, and I think there's a lot to lose in terms of injury. My younger self would hate me because I used to love to go down to Vegas for the Mountain West tournament. That was an annual tradition, and I loved going to that thing, and it felt meaningful, and it felt important, and I just don't care. I couldn't really pinpoint as to why. It just feels like at the end of the day, this team will be defined by success in March Madness, not by winning a Big 12 tournament championship. BYU has been to the tournament a lot, the NCAA tournament, and they haven't had a lot of success. That's what matters. Winning a Big 12 title but getting bounced in the first round, no one wants that. That would not validate a great season. So I don't care about this tournament this week. I want them to lose the opening round. I'll say it here and there. I want them to lose. And let's get ready for March Madness, baby.
I think that's fair, but I will say it has been 24 years since BYU has won a conference tournament.
Make it 25, man.
Why can't they go on a UConn-type run like UConn did years ago with Kemba Walker? Why not just win 11 straight, 15 straight games, go on an incredible run to close out the season? Why not? This BYU team is flying high. Go win that Big 12 tournament. Hey, for me, trending down, three-point shooting, a little bit, because last two games, 19 of 60 from three. They started the Utah game 0 of 13. I would have never thought that.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm getting a little nitpicky because the impact of those threes were significant when they did hit those shots, but
they won both those games, though. Isn't that a positive? You're not shooting your best and you're winning games.
I agree, but I want to see BYU shooting their best in
we
the
can't
NCAA
have the
tournament.
Kansas win every game, Mitch.
Oh,
we
I
can't be blowing
understand
teams up
that,
by 30.
but I think that's got to be key when you're going into the NCAA tournament. You got to be able to knock down the three. You can't go 0 of 13 in a neutral court and expect to win, because the teams you're going to face are a lot better than Utah, and you're not going to have the home crowd behind you in a neutral court setting, especially if you go to Wichita, Lexington, or Providence. They're not going to be behind you, so you better not start a game 0 of 13. So it's a little nitpicky, but I just think it's something to monitor for BYU, that they got to get that right, because to their core, and I know that's not, what, like last year was live and die by the three. I know this team has much more nuance than that, but still, to their core, when they are on fire, when I point to that Arizona game a few weeks back, it's a thing of beauty to watch with this BYU team, and they really are one of the toughest teams to take down when they're knocking down their shots. So I just want to see BYU get back to really what I kind of expect them to be, because they're an excellent three-point shooting team. Do that in the postseason.
They shot it much better in the second half. They were over
did.
40% from three in the second half. You have to wonder if that 0 of 13, was there some senior night jitters? Obviously, that game meant a lot. You heard what Trey Stewart had to say after the game. So maybe they were just a little too amped up for that game against Utah at home. It was a raucous environment. I thought it was the best environment of the year at the Marriott Center. It was electric. So I think that 0 of 13 is more of an anomaly and not necessarily a sign of trouble to come.
News, traffic, and weather coming up next. And then on the other side, we will be joined live by BYU All Big 12 freshman guard Yegor Demon. Will discuss his Big 12 recognitions and preview the Big 12 tournament with Yegor coming up next here on Cougar Nation on KSL News Radio.